Hi guys, you've tuned into Social Ketchup and today we have with us Mr. Mukul Chadda. So hello sir, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you? Thank you.
So let's begin with talking about The Office. How's it going? Can you tell us, how is it shooting and how are the characters? How are you bonding well with them?
The shooting was last year actually. I mean, the show's released now. It's been 4 weeks,
Yeah.
and it's been going pretty well. I mean, I keep getting comments and messages from people all the time about how they've liked the show, and that's just wonderful to read. So I think the feedback from people who've seen the show has been truly wonderful. We had a great time shooting it last year as well, if that's what you're asking about as
Yeah.
well. It was a very tough schedule, but it was also a very fun schedule to go through. I had great fun playing this character
Yeah.
and getting along with everybody in the cast. Actually, we got along like
Yeah, it looks like the house was set on fire with all of you together.
absolutely. Actually, everybody got along really well, and I don't know how that happens sometimes on units, but it happened in this unit, and we were lucky. And yeah,
So can you tell me about some of the prep or did you that you went through to get into sort of skin of the character? Because you have two references for this character, the UK version and the US
correct.
version.
Actually, I hadn't seen the show before I got called for the audition, so I had luckily in that sense a clean slate. But I did start watching the US show during the audition process because they said in fact start watching from season 2 because tonally it changes between season 1 and season 2, the US version. So the casting guy said watch season 2. So I watched actually during the audition process, which was about over a month. During that time, I did 3 rounds of auditions, and during that time, I watched almost all of season 2.
Okay.
So strangely, I haven't seen season 1. I've seen season 2 only. And then when I got the part, I stopped watching because I think then it can kind of mess with your head to kind of watch what somebody else has done and either replicate it or try and deliberately do something different. So I didn't. But obviously, there was a lot of material that one got in terms of understanding the character based on what I saw Michael Scott's character in the US version. Then of course we had, but you have to find Jagdeep Chadda because Jagdeep Chadda is, yes, he's based on the character of Michael Scott, but he is also different.
And very
Uh,
Indianized.
Indianized, also different in certain ways. That some of that change has happened by the writers. The writers have written the lines and written it a certain way. As soon as I got a cast, in fact, the good part was they already had about 10, 12 scripts ready.
Okay.
So I had that material to work with. There was my own inputs in terms of what can make this character work or what can make what makes this guy tick, that makes all this that he does believable.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of all those factors. There was a lot of prep, I guess. In fact, I kept feeling that we have very little time. We had a 9-day workshop with all the actors. That was to get everybody gelling on the same page. So we did that. We did a mock shoot, and then we started shooting. But separate from that, I was also doing my own prep work in trying to understand who Jagdeep Chadda is, what kind of character is. He's also, you have to remember, he's a branch manager at Faridabad. He's very excited to get this job.
Okay.
So where's he come from? What's his background? What kind of a person would he be? And then of course, what kind of a person is he that would make all this nonsense he does make
Yeah.
sense. So all that went into preparatory work. Yes.
And have you ever come across a character like that in your real life?
In some ways, yes. I think at that time when I was working on it and thinking about it, thinking about the character, at that time I think one or two people I said are Jagdeep Chadda-ish. They're not exactly. No one's
Yeah.
exactly like that, but some
Like
of the
little
basic,
knickknacks.
some of the basic personality. Yeah, actually, you borrow different things from different people. You take certain things from people, which are one could be the way he speaks or the way he behaves, can be from a different person.
Yeah.
Certain mannerisms can be from somewhere. Basic personality can be from a person who talks and walks differently completely, but that personality is similar. So
together
actually, yeah, you
ties together.
do sort of. Sometimes I don't know whether you're taking, but you're also sometimes observing and seeing a similarity, and that happens.
And what do you think? What kind of a boss would you be in real life if you ever?
I have been a boss in real life. I've worked in a company for 6 years.
Yeah.
I wore a suit and tie, went into office for 6 years. That's how I started my career actually.
Yeah.
I was a very different boss. I was very, very chilled out. I would find it very difficult. I'd feel a lot of pressure. I have a responsibility of, I didn't have too many people working for me. I didn't, but I used to always feel, I have to give work to this person now. What do I tell them? क्या काम दूंगा उनको? And they're coming in motivated and excited. and I was pretty laid back. So yeah, I'm a very different boss in real life.
Okay. And talking about the format of the show, it's
Yeah.
quite different.
Very
you know,
different,
the way
yeah.
it is shot.
Very different,
What do
yeah.
you have to say about that?
Yeah, the first time I saw the show, I hadn't seen the show earlier, as I told you, and initially it takes a few episodes to kind of get into understanding the format of the show also while watching it, right? It's very different humor. It's shot differently,
Yeah.
and we've chosen in this version to stick to a lot of that format, the mockumentary style,
Yes.
the awkward silences, the cringe comedy. And some of it is also a tough choice because you can feel we've moved 13 14 years since that was shot. Technology has changed. Will this look too raw?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a call that they had already made to shoot in that way, and I am glad because the whole writing and the setup of the show lends itself towards that kind of a format. Initially it was hard, I think, in some ways to deal with it, because, for example, looking into camera,
Yeah.
right? And especially my character, Jagdeep Chadda, is so conscious of the camera. He's performing for camera very often. So as an actor, normally when you're performing, you're aware of where the camera is, but you
But you're not
clearly
kind of
avoid
into
it, right?
Yes.
And here was the total opposite, right? You have to kind of do a blend of ignoring the camera and also acknowledging it very often. It influences the way you behave. So incorporating that took a little while, I have to say. It wasn't the most natural, and understanding how that comedy works. So it was different. It did take some getting used to, but also wonderful to play with it. I mean, I think it's once you kind of even while watching, once you get used to it, it becomes a wonderful format and genre to kind of follow.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
feel like you were in your own sort of a big boss house there?
Well, we were locked up for a long time, so in that sense, yeah, we were kind of one family locked up. Hardly met anybody from the outside world for a long time. So yes, in that sense, it did feel like a crazy madhouse with crazy characters. In that sense, yes.
So, do you think, the other characters that are there in the show, do you think if you had to play one of them, which one would that be?
TP Mishra.
Okay.
TP Mishra, I would play. I think it's another great
Yeah.
character. It's a very tough role, and Gopal's done a fantastic job of it.
Yeah.
I think it's, I mean, in similar to Jagdeep Chadda, I would say TP Mishra's character is so wacko. I mean, and he has to do all these things believably.
Yeah.
That I think it would have been a complete delight to play that character next. Even Amit's character is interesting because Amit is in a lot of ways, and he's the voice of the POV of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, he's sort of you kind of feel things through him and his reactions. So it's a very different role. It's a very understated kind of role and character, but it's also very interesting to play. I don't think I'm the age to play that character, but yeah, these are the roles that I think would have been the lovely ones to play. Yeah.
Okay, and I have some very quick 5 questions
Sure,
for
sure,
you
sure, sure,
that
yeah.
we'd like to ask.
Please.
Okay, so what is the most boss joke ever that you've heard?
The most boss joke that I've heard in my life.
Yeah,
The
or
most
cracked one, because you've been one already in real life.
in real life, I've been in real life
Yeah.
also. I've been a boss. What's the most
Boss joke.
What's
Something
the
that only a boss would find funny.
ब्रूस ली की बहन का एक लड़का हुआ था, तो उसने ब्रूस ली को क्या बुलाया?
I don't know, I can't.
मामूली. इतना गंदा जोक है.
Yeah, I can. And so I was gonna ask you which
Yeah.
character that have played the boss in The Office do you like more, from the UK version or the US version? But since you said that you only watched,
I subsequently went and watched the UK version.
okay,
So I
so
went
which
back
one
and I watched. In fact, after we finished shooting, I went back and I watched the UK show. I watched 12 episodes of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So which one?
Very difficult.
Steve or
Ek to
Ricky?
in any case, I would like to stay clear of comparisons because
Yeah.
I know I can't avoid it because everyone's making comparisons.
Yeah.
But I don't know how do you compare, right? I mean, they're very different performances. The tone of the show is very different. I liked what Ricky did, very different, and from Steve Carell. Yeah, so I think I'm going to consciously avoid making comparisons because
Okay.
we want people not to make comparisons.
Cool. And the next one is, if you weren't an actor, what you'd be doing?
Well, I was before I was an actor. I was a research analyst.
Okay.
I was working at an investment bank in New York, and I was writing research reports, telling people where to invest their money. So that's what I was doing if I wasn't an
Yeah,
actor.
well,
Fighter pilot. If I wanted to be something in life, I'd be a
That's
fighter pilot. Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah. That's as a kid I wanted to be a fighter pilot.
I
फिर
wanted to
चश्मा
be
लग
an
गया,
astronaut.
चश्मा लग गया, फिर no chance. Carry on.
Okay, and which one is the funniest or the naughtiest character on the show? Your favorite?
The naughtiest character, I would name a few. Amit definitely is
Yeah.
a character. He's Kida. I mean, he's constantly playing pranks. Bhadoria. There's a character of Bhadoria who's unique to our show because he's
Yeah.
not there in any of the other versions. And Nepal is a very wonderful actor and he's done a great job. It's a tiny little part and you notice him from here and there, doing little things.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a total trickster. You have to watch episode 11 to see, what he
Yeah.
does in terms of. He managed to get somebody fired, which is fantastic.
Okay, and is there like one moment that you can point out where the team sort of came together and bonded? Like that.
I think there are many moments. I think one of the stories we talk about, and it's because we've said it several times, but it's true, and it's quite unusual for a set. We used to have lunch together, all of us.
Okay.
So it started off with the unit just bonded. We would initially during lunchtime go to our own rooms. Then we'd all sort of after a few days we'd 4-5 of us in one room. Then it was like all of us in one room, and
Yeah.
you couldn't fit. But lunch साथ में कर रहे थे, and लोग घर से डब्बा लेके आते थे. So you shared your lunch, and then we told production. So within I think 10 days or so, we had a big table that was laid out. And
it does bring everyone.
yeah, and everybody would sit together, and cast, crew, everyone would sit together, have lunch together, and सब डब्बा लेते थे घर से, सेट का भी खाना था, and then you'd share it,
Yeah.
and then we'd give ratings कि इसके घर की दाल अच्छी है, and then ये रायता अच्छा लाती है, तो तुम रायता ले आओ कल, तुम बिरयानी ले आओ, तुम ये ले आओ,
Yeah.
chicken तुम ले आओ, and yeah, it was very communal eating, and that really does actually reflect how close we were as a unit.
Yeah, and it shows on the screen as well, and it has been like I watched only a few episodes so far, but I love it, and I haven't watched the other versions, but I'm still enjoying this.
Thank you. Please watch the rest.
And yes,
Yeah,
I will.
please do.
And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mukul. It's
Thank
been
you so
really
much.
incredible
Thank you,
knowing
Priyanka.
about the show and you.
Thank you so much.
मेरा फेवरेट है फ्री का समोसा, लेकिन अगली बार समोसे के साथ चटनी नहीं, केचप ट्राई करो. If you had fun watching this, then like and share this video. And whether you had fun or not, definitely watch The Office on Hotstar Specials. बहुत ही funny show है यार. And for more fun videos like this, subscribe to Social Ketchup.